most part, we've all got everyone in the office, Karen McDaniel, Philip Cottles. We've got Hudson Copeland that kind of handles our Russellville, Franklin County area. But we've been in the business individually 15 to 20 years, and some of us more than that. So a lot of experience in our office. Like I said, we've seen about everything that can be seen as far as loan situations, credit situations. So usually we're able to handle most situations, or at least know what route we need to take, when someone calls.
I have maybe a question or two. If you have bad credit and it's like you have a 6 or something on your score, and you want to come in and get a home, is that going to happen?
In the world today, it's not as, back in the good old days, what I would call, when we first got in the industry, there was basically a loan program for almost any type of credit scenario. Because of the foreclosure and the housing bubble bust several years ago, and the federal government stepped in and changed rules and regulations, it's not as easy to get credit in any aspect, whether it be cars or credit cards or home loans, because the financial industry took such a hit. But there are a lot of programs that we have a lot of programs that can assist those that probably others can't with lower credit scores. And the one thing that we try to do is, when someone calls us at the office, and a lot of companies, they either do the loan right there or they can't help them. So they'll say, well, we can't do a loan for you today. Thank you. Have a nice day. Whereas I've always been trying to be helpful and say, well, I can't do a loan for you today, but if we'll do this over the next 30, 60, 90 days, or however long it takes, we can do a loan for you tomorrow. And so try to put them on the path. And a lot of my, being in the business, as long as I have, a lot of my clientele base has been because I've helped those people when no one else would. And they've came back to me, or they send referrals or whatnot, because I was willing to sit down with them and say, well, this is the route we need to take in order to get to where you want to be.
Right. Well, Steve and I will be looking for a house in the spring.
Perfect.
So guess who we're going to use?
Very much so. I appreciate that. That'd be great.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about credit and what we should know about credit. If you do have a low score, how you can build it up, I guess.
Right. And that's a big thing. I really wish, from an educational standpoint, through the high school level, the college level, or any level, there's nowhere that you can learn about credit. I mean, most people learn about credit after it's too late. You've got bad credit because at that point in time, we don't know what to do at that point. I've got some little statistics that I've pulled up, and they said the average person over a lifetime that has bad credit versus good credit will pay as much as $250,000 over a lifetime extra for the same exact thing that someone with good credit is. And so a lot of people are worried about their, not getting the 50 cent an hour pay raise or the better job or whatnot, but $250,000 in extra expenditures just because of their credit score for the exact same product is pretty, mind-boggling as far as that. And so, that's one thing I kind of want to do today is as far as kind of do maybe a credit 101 educational, just to give tips and tricks, do's and don'ts from things that we pull out. We look at credit reports on a daily basis. So I just kind of want to give those things that maybe can let people know, so that way they don't go in a situation and it's kind of a too late situation. So just right off the bat, the one thing that everyone needs to know is they need to know what they have on their credit report and what their credit scores are. You need to know, because the average person the statistics say that 1 out of every 3 people have something derogatory on their credit report that does not belong to them. So if you know there's something on your credit report, or do not know there's something on your credit report, you need to be able to access your credit report on an annual basis for at least to be able to see what's on the credit report, because you may have something derogatory on your credit report that when you do go apply for a loan, they deny you and you don't know why they deny you. So you'll be able to dispute that. And in saying that, and I'll go a little bit more into this detail later, but there's actually a website that the federal government, there's 3 major credit reporting agencies out there. And several years ago, the federal government said, hey, if you're going to allow these creditors to report to the credit report, then you have to give the consumer the opportunity to dispute or to review what's on their credit report. There's 40, 50 laws that are set aside for credit reporting laws, but there's no one there to govern those laws. So someone can report, any creditor can report anything to your credit report, but nobody's there to govern if they follow the right laws. So you can go once a year, you're allowed a free credit report. It's called annualcreditreport.com. That's annualcreditreport.com. And once a year, you can actually go to that website. You can pull each one of your credit reports from each credit source, review what's on there, and you even have the option to dispute it online. So if there's something that you do not agree with, something that's erroneous or been paid off, or you weren't late, or it don't even exist, you don't know where that's from, you can actually go online and you can dispute it. And it takes about 30 to 45 days from that dispute date, but you will actually get something in the mail after that period of time from each repository letting you know what action was taken on that dispute. And you know, everyone needs to do this on an annual basis.
Right.
Every year, you know, I actually try to do it the first of the year. That way I'll just, you know, for me, January 1st, the first week of January, I just always, that beginning of the year. So, you know, mark it on your calendar so every year you go on there, because you're only allowed to do it once every 12 months. Right. And it is 100% free. The other thing that everyone needs to do is, you know, whether it be an individual or a couple, is they need to sit down, set a budget for themselves, and the main thing is live within it. Too many people set a budget, they find something they fall in love with outside of that budget.
Me. That's me.
Is that it? Yes. And it's almost everyone. To give you an example, I'll give you an example. I actually had a lady years ago came to me, and I don't ask people how much you want to buy. I always ask people fill in the blank. I do not want my house payment no more than blank, because I want to know what that budget is. And then when they tell me that blank, then I can say, all right, to keep your blank within your budget, you don't need to buy a house no more than this amount of money. And I'll let them go looking at price ranges that amount. And I got a call the following Monday. They went to an open house at a new subdivision, and that blank had more than doubled. And her payment had more than doubled. And I explained to her, I was like, you know, this is not going to be in that blank period that we had talked about. And she said, well, we talked about it, and my husband's going to stop smoking, and we're going to stop eating out as much, and we're going to save this and save that, but we can afford it. And based on their financials, they were able to purchase the house. And 8 months later, I got a phone call wanting to refinance that same house because they were not able to make the payments. She wanted lower payments. Well, it was a new purchase. So long story short, when she went so far out of that budget, what's smoking going to do? He's going to have more stresses, so he probably smoked more. There are more stresses at home, they probably ate out more. So it was just so that's the big thing is the budget has to be stuck with, because by going out of that budget, it's just going to cause more stresses on the marriage, on the finances.
That's true.
And more problems at that point in time. And you know, it's a really, owning a home is better than money in the bank. The fact that you own a home, it's going to appreciate. Your debt's going to reduce as far as your payment is concerned. So, and it's cheaper than rent. That's the main thing. People are paying outrageous rental fees for a 2-bedroom apartment when they can buy a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath home and own it versus paying rent. So it's a big opportunity. You just do not want to go over budget. The other thing as far as credit is concerned is just pay your bills on time. You know, the one thing that 30-day late payments, that's, you know, I understand, you know, paychecks don't hit your account when your bill's due. So being late 2 days, 5 days, 10 days is not a huge issue. But when that 30-day mark hits, that 30-day mark is going to hit your credit report, and that's a huge deduction to your credit scores. So whatever you do is, and it doesn't matter if the payment's a $15 payment or a $5,000 payment, the credit report doesn't decipher from loan amounts or loan sizes. It's all about, hey, you paid this payment on time or you didn't pay this payment on time. So that's a huge issue, is just to pay your payments on time. And don't let that 30-day late payment hit that credit report, because it's going to be on there for 7 years after it hits. And that's a huge thing. And then in saying that, there's everyone needs to have another point. They need to have a mixture of credit types. And when I mean a mixture of credit types is you need to have all types of loans in order to achieve the highest credit score possible. You need to have credit cards. You need to have installment loans. If you got a mortgage loan, that's great. You know that those are reported different ways on the credit report, because revolving, of course, is revolving. Installment loans like car loans, personal loans, any type of furniture loan or whatnot, those are reported separately. But the credit report wants to see a mixture, but at the same time, you've got to be really careful not to expand that mixture and saying, having 6 credit cards. Revolving is a huge effect. It has a huge effect on the credit scores. 30% of your credit scores is affected by just revolving accounts only.
Okay, that's good information.
Yeah.
I think we're going to take just a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will finish up on some more of these tips. This is good stuff.
Perfect.
So we'll be right back.